So when you walk in, it's not you that's giving the opinion, it's the market. Hello everybody, Maria Di Poce, your coach, coming to you from Richmond, Virginia. Where else would I be? In my amazing office. It is beautiful outside. This weather we're getting over here is just amazing. But I'm not here to talk to you guys about the weather per usual. I am here, however, to talk to you about this book called Shift, and specifically tactic number 7, which is pricing ahead of the market and pricing seller strategies. All right, so here's the deal. I'm not Gary Keller. I'm not Jay Papasan. I'm not James Shaw. I know this book. I don't know it as well as the MREA. I have read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book hundreds of times. I have read this book maybe once or twice. But what I do know is I know the key things in this book that really matter. And I also know that going into the winter months, typically that means that we have inventory sitting out there for longer because we have more inventory. We're going to get into that conversation here in a minute because I have slides. My whole point in teeing this video up is that I'm not the expert. I want you to pick up the book. I want you to read tactic number 7. I have so much highlighted in here, so much starred. I'm not going to just sit here and read you the chapter because you can do it on your own, right? I want us to spend our time together actually doing what you're going to get value out of the most, right? Okay, so this slide is calling pricing ahead of the market, seller strategies that actually work. What are we going to be talking about today? Figure 29 talks about how sellers with a price reduction need 2 to 3 times longer to sell, potentially delaying their move and increasing their carrying costs. So this is a conversation we would have with our clients around, do you want the most for your property? Or do you want the most that you can get for your property right now? It's not a trick question because there are 2 answers to that question. The most for their property might look like them having to wait till a different time of the year to sell their property. But the most for their property right now, we get into a strategic conversation about how to price the property to make sure that we catch it ahead of the market and not behind the market. And therefore, within the first 2 or 3 weeks, we can sell the house, right? Which is what we want, right? If we're getting a bunch of showings and we're not getting any offers, that's not good. So the market sets the price. And what I mean by that is, 1, buyers decide the value, not the sellers. Okay, if you send a buyer a list of 20 homes that are all pretty much within the same price range, they're going to make a list of location, condition, price, and amenities. They're going to look at those 4 things and they're going to say which one has the best ones of these 4. So sometimes you have to be able to explain to your sellers that you as the seller, dear seller, please put a buyer's hat on and let me show you all that active inventory that's maybe in your neighborhood that is competition to you and what other buyers are going to be looking at. So data beats opinion. It is not my opinion. It is the data that is telling us what the property is worth, right? It's always the market. It's always the data. It's always the numbers, and it's not me. Overpricing equals chasing. So how do we know the market is what's going on in the market? The market is like a seesaw. There are fewer buyers. There's more inventory. It's a buyer's market. If there's more buyers and less inventory, it's a seller's market. Right now, we're what feels like a balanced market, which really is just an in-between period between a buyer's market and a seller's market. We are in a very seasonally driven market in Richmond, Virginia, and really in a lot of places in the country. There are some places that are in a buyer's market, but we are not in a buyer's market. We still only have 2.3 months worth of supply, which tells us we're in a seller's market, not a buyer's market. Okay, so the direction in which a market is going and the speed it's going determines a pricing strategy. So if we price at the market, we're gonna blend in. If we price above the market, we're gonna sit and have to make cuts. And if we price ahead of the market, we're gonna sell fast. There's a lot of psychology in this stuff, so it's hard for me to explain it to you in a 5-minute video. But when you really break it down, when you price ahead of the market, you are creating like exposure and psychological in people's brains that wasn't there when you price it right at the market. So not chasing the market means pricing ahead of the market. What a house is worth and what it will sell for are two different things, y'all. I want you to hear this. Just because they got an appraisal, God forbid the appraisal was done in the spring, and their house was appraised at $650,000, and now they want to sell in the dead of winter, I'm sorry to tell you, unless that house is located in the perfect part of the neighborhood in the city, it's in perfect condition, it's got great amenities, and we're gonna price it right, that house is gonna sit. The price is gonna determine if that home is sitting or not, or if we're just chasing it. Okay, a couple more figures, but stay with me. These are really important. I'm gonna explain to them what they are. Figure 31, in a market with rising home values, if a seller wants a price that's ahead of the market may go up enough to make the price attractive for buyers. Time can cure some mistakes that make people look smart. So like, for example, like if the price is going up because the rising home prices and the seller price is here, well, they're gonna get it, but because it's raising. If it's going the other way, right? If it's coming down, it says here, if a seller falls behind the market with failing home values, they can end up chasing the market down because home values are always falling faster than the price reduction, right? So there's a price they want, then a price correction, and another price correction, and they may never get it because they get tired of chasing the market down and they're going, I'll just wait till next year to sell. Maybe that's good for them, maybe that's not good for them. We don't know. So time is money, right? More days equal less money, still listings lose power, quick sales equals a strong net. So these two figures are really important, and I am gonna slow down a little bit to cover these because I want you guys to understand them, and I really want you guys to pull these out when you are in front of a seller, as painful as this might be. So the cost of overpricing in a stable market and the cost of overpricing in a shifting market. So number one is the fair market value is driven on what buyers will pay for perceived worth, okay? Number two is this, what the seller hopes a higher initial price will draw a higher offer. They're like, yeah, we know it's worth down here, but we think that we can get more, right? Okay, number three is the market interest is highest for new listings and wanes after 2 to 4 weeks. So this is a 2 to 4 week timeline. 4, as listings become stale, market psychology reduces the sellability of the property. 5, price reductions are necessary to attract buyers. So now we're gonna start doing price reduction. The actual list price corresponds with the current sellable price. We're at 6. And that's where it would have sold, by the way, the whole time. Actually, I think we could have sold it somewhere in between here. And as counterintuitive as it seems, property initially priced above fair market value tend to sell for less than they could have if their original price had looked more attractive to buyers. So figure 34, the cost of overpricing in a shifting market. So same idea, but what happens is we have to make more cuts, right? So the cost of overpricing in an amplified market, it is amplified after a shift. And the reason why that is because the market is nosediving downward and you can't catch up with those price reductions, right? And time is money. So the longer the property sits on the market, the more money it's costing you for holding costs, right? Okay, so what is your next step? 1, show sellers the data. 2, set the price expectations early. And 3, if you want some scripts and strategies, I'm not kidding you. I have an entire book of scripts around pricing strategies and pricing conversations. Let me know. I would love to send those to you. Just go to booktimewithmaria.com, book some time with me. We can go over those scripts together and then I can email those to you. I would love nothing more but to help you learn how to price your homes better and really how to have that conversations with your sellers. So when you walk in, it's not you that's giving the opinion, it's the market. All right, I hope you found this information beneficial. Thank you so much for watching this whole video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are on a quest to get to 200 subscribers by the end of the month. And if you haven't subscribed yet, every new friend counts. I'll talk to you soon. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.